All right, so this is my last stream this week until Monday. I'm gonna be out. I'm gonna be out this afternoon, and then tomorrow and Friday as well. While I'll be at Gen Con. What's going on, Jace? Thanks for the 28 months. Any issues with the stream should be on your end. We're uploading at 0 dropped frames, the normal 1080 60 FPS. A couple people commenting on that I'm currently on early. I am on early for my normal schedule, but something I'm going to be posting closer next week is that starting next week, I'm actually going to be getting on earlier than normal. So about 7 a.m. Central is going to be my normal start time starting next week. So Modern will be from about 7 a.m. till about 10 a.m. or so, because my oldest son is going to be starting kindergarten. So I need to be done by 2:30-ish to get him off the bus. So rather than cutting the stream shorter, I'd rather start earlier so we can still get in a good amount of content each day. Detroit! Thank you for the very generous tier 2 resub. I've taken a step back from Magic, as you can see with how rancid our formats have become, but still tune in because you always make us laugh. Well, thanks for keeping us around. We're gonna focus on the fun parts of Magic. That's for certain. That's for certain. I agree. I'm ready for rotation. And standard, and I hope WotC hits Modern with some kind of anti-Hagok spray, or maybe even an I'd settle for an anti-Tron spray too, but that's probably never gonna happen at this point. I am doing swell, Aussie Pants. So anywho, as for this deck here today, I had someone send in a build-around donation to try and port Aristocrats to Modern. So this deck has a lot of similarities to the standard Black-Red Aristocrats deck that I've been playing. This deck's a little bit more black than red compared to the build that we've been playing in Standard. Carrion Feeder and Gravecrawler slot very naturally into a deck that wants to be sacrificing things, and Dreadhorde Butcher is just a very good aggressive threat from Standard. So that gave us 12 zombies to start with anyways, so I went ahead and added in some copies of Undead Augur here, because when this dies, when their zombie dies, you get to draw a card and lose a life. There's some reasonable synergies there. We got a couple copies of Priest of the Forgotten God still. This effect is powerful against other creature decks, but there are going to be a number of matchups in Modern where it leaves some to be desired because they don't have creatures, so I don't have all 4 of these. And then Mayhem Devil seems interesting in this format. So Mayhem Devil, remember, triggers whenever any player sacrifices a permanent. It's not just a creature. So Mayhem Devil triggers when people crack fetch lands. So you'll see our deck actually has 8 fetches in it. It also triggers when you cycle things like Silent Clearing and Sunbaked Canyon, because those are sacrifice effects. So you get a little bit of value in our mana base from Mayhem Devil, in addition to our various creatures and stuff that sacrifice things. Chandra, Acolyte of Flames was a card that people asked a couple questions about when I posted this list on Twitter, and I think this card's really sweet in this deck. So this card not only pumps out a steady stream of tokens that you can feed into Carrion Feeder or Falkenrath Aristocrat or Priest of the Forgotten Gods, or just end your turn with to trigger Mayhem Devil, but Chandra's -2 is also a Snapcaster Mage, which seems very reasonable in this format where we've got these 1-mana discard spells and lightning bolts and stuff like that. So Chandra, in addition to being kind of an engine piece for the Aristocrats by providing a steady flow of bodies, she's also a steady flow of disruption. Now, as is often the case with new brews in Modern, there is a chance that the ultimate power level of what we're doing here is a little bit low compared to some of the good decks in the format, but hopefully on the back of some efficient removal and lightning bolt, and then our suite of discard spells along with an okay-ish clock, we can still get some match wins here today. So I heard someone in chat was asking about recommendations for Dredge versus Phoenix. So my only comment on Dredge is that if you're going to play a deck like Dredge, especially in the format right now, you really need to be okay with the kind of sub-games of Magic that go on post-board with a deck like Dredge. So, we played Hagok yesterday, and Dredge is very similar to Hagok in that it's a deck where the post-board games generally devolve into, do they have their hate card? Did you draw your anti-hate card? And those types of games can often leave a little bit to be desired for a lot of people, myself included. A Gemstone Caverns here. Probabilistically a Blood Moon deck. They exiled Flooded Strand. Weird. Okay, it's probably a bit of a brew on the other side too. Have a relatively aggressive start here on the play with Carrion Feeder into Butcher into Acolyte. But again, aggressive is relative. Second Flooded Strand. We should have like a Gemstone Caverns inside of blue-white control. Rock! Thank you for the 14-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Could be the Urza deck with Arcanum Astrolabe. The Thopter Foundry deck. Another land is not really what we're looking for. It's my first time casting Dreadhorde Butcher on Magic Online. Hey Rock, happy birthday. Hope your Wednesday is going swell. We have a reader, ladies and gentlemen. So next turn we'll be attacking for 5, and the following turn we'll be attacking for 8. We have like turn 5-ish lethal, which is slow by modern standards, but yikes, that's a lot of land. Mayhem Devil makes their sword combo life neutral. It does, in fact. Or alternatively, instead of making it life neutral, you could kill their tokens. Yeah, so starting next week, I'm going to be moving up my start time. So today I was just ready to go. I figured it'd be a good opportunity to talk about moving the start time up. So it is currently 7:15 Central Standard Time. I actually have one Bontu in the sideboard just because I have a Bontu in the sideboard as a card against the control decks. So starting next week, about 7 a.m. Central is going to be my start time moving forward. My approximate schedule is going to be like 7 a.m. to 2-ish instead of the 8 to 3 that I normally do. Look at that. We didn't draw any more spells past their opening hand, but we didn't need them. So modern will be about 7 to 10, and standard will be about 10 to 2. All right, I don't really have anti-artifact cards in my sideboard. I don't really know what they're doing. Do we just assume? Like they had a Hallowed Fountain, which is throwing me off a little bit. I feel like I definitely want the Duress. They didn't really play any creatures, so maybe these priests are a little bit medium. I'll bring in the extra Chandra as another way to flash things back. Yeah, maybe not having artifact hate in my sideboard is a bit of an oversight. And again, like, it's tough because, like, that's modern, right? Like, I've got 4 Leyline in the Void and, like, Damping Sphere, and this format's very much about, like, picking what you want your fairish deck to beat and what you want to lose to. So, like, I've got anti-graveyard cards, I've got some anti-big mana, anti-combo cards, then I've got, like, Collective Brutality as, like, an anti-burn effect. Yeah, Dreadbore could be fine. Bolt's maybe a little bit medium. Could also see Collective Brutality maybe being okay. I'm going to throw my Bontu in as a way to get a big kill with Mayhem Devil through an Ensnaring Bridge. So I'd bet they're an Ensnaring Bridge deck. So opponent didn't really play any spells, so I'm not 100% sure what we're working with here. I think I'm going to mulligan this hand in the dark. Like, it's got some okay pressure, but I think I want a little bit of disruption on average post board, especially now that my opponent knows I'm on something a little bit aggressive. You want to throw back Gravecrawler here. I think we'll lead on Thoughtseize into Dreadhorde Butcher. Hallowed Fountain is very good. I don't think that's true, Succulent. All you need to know about Hallowed Fountain in Modern is that Gabriel Nassif registered Tron lands at the last Pro Tour. So that's all I'm gonna say. If the Hallowed Fountain person has elected that the deck is not playable for their big event, it's probably not very good. That being said, lots of players love it and are gonna play it, and it's gonna put up some results just because lots of people are playing it. But I think talking about it being great is a little bit just not true. That's a 1-2, which is really good against my Dreadhorde Butchers. Unfortunately, they're going to be able to stick the Thopter Foundry. But I think I need to take that so I can just like get my Butchers down and attacking. So they are confirmed on the Thopter Foundry deck. The Hallowed Fountain last game threw me off a little bit. I think I probably want my Leylines then post-board for disrupting not only their engineers but also their Thopter Foundry combo. I wonder if they're playing the White Splash. I guess the Hallowed Fountain is an island that lets them cast Thopter Foundry because this is black or white. So you have like Hallowed Fountain plus Island and cast this. Yeah, there's 1,000 different artifact key cards you could play. You could play a Braid, you could play K-Command. Like I said, when I built the deck, and this is very much just like peak Modern. Like you build the deck, you pick 2 of the 3 or 4 things that you want to be able to beat, and then you hope you play against those things. And like I didn't choose artifacts to be one of the things I put extra cards on my sideboard for, and now we're playing against artifacts, so we might be in trouble because of it. Thankfully, this artifact deck also leans into its graveyard, so like post-board, now that we know what we're playing against in the third game, if there's a third game, we can Leyline them. But yeah, that's the other thing too. Like people like wanting to add other clunky cards to the deck. Like some people ask me like why we're not playing like Skelemental. It's like this is Modern, right? Like we're already playing some cards that are like a little bit clunky and slow. So like playing too many cards that are too expensive is generally not a good plan for the format. Hopefully we draw a land next turn so we can Thoughtseize plus second Dreadhorde Butcher. That's unfortunate. Well, hopefully they have 2 spells and we can take both of them. That's really unfortunate. All right. So they can sacrifice any of these to get 1/1s. Dreadhorde Butcher not looking stellar in the face of endless 1/1s here. That being said, with the Undead Augur in play, when they trade their 1/1 off for a Dreadhorde Butcher, I will just be able to draw a card when it dies, so that's nice. Hey now, you're an all-star, get your game on, go play. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub now, let's play. They drew Sword of the Meek, we are very dead, go to game 3. I think white's for the Teferi splash. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Thanks for the Prime support. Happy Wednesday. Alright, get some Leylines in here. Gonna trim Bontu. Gonna trim these lightning bolts, I think. I'm gonna cut this Dreadbore too. It's probably unnecessary. That singing, it wasn't bad. I mean, is my singing ever bad? Thank you. Yeah, Young Pizzy, we're gonna be starting earlier moving forward. So starting next week when I'm back from Gen Con, we're gonna have a earlier start time as part of the regular. I'm gonna keep this. It needs to draw some lands, but like, if we hit a couple of lands here, this hand's like pretty reasonable, right? We've not seen any red lands, no. Oh yeah, that's right. We saw the goblin. Yeah, yep, they're definitely 4-color. Good catch. I'm going to play the Gravecrawler because we're going to brick off next turn because we're incredibly unlucky. So I'd rather get the most damage in. Obviously, if we hit the land for Chandra, like playing Blood Artist is probably better, but this is what it is. Yep. Look at that. We hit the land. We're so good at this. To attack for 6 here. Morning, Tony. Pretty reasonable start on the play here for us. And Blood Artist even gives us an avenue of victory through an ensnaring bridge, which is sweet. Although the opponent did have a fatal push last game, which is interesting. So they have a little bit of interaction there. Is Gen Con better than Origins? I haven't spent a lot of time at Origins. I went to Origins once or twice while they had the old SCG invitationals there still, but never really walked around it as a convention. I know Gen Con is larger than Origins. Howdy, Blue. All right, so do I just jam Falkenrath? If I jam Falkenrath and they Urza me next turn, I die, right? They go infinite. So I could play Blood Artist. Think we're supposed to Blood Artist here. Because it stops them from... I guess it doesn't even really stop them from much, right? Because it stops them from gaining life while they combo. If I can stop them from gaining life, they can't attack me if they play Urza next turn. And then my Falkenrath is lethal next turn, right? I think. Because I'm making 2 elementals here. And then I get to attack with my Gravecrawlers and my elementals. And then ends up the elementals die and trigger Blood Artist. No, this doesn't stop them, right? This is only when a creature dies. So this doesn't do anything, right? I was thinking Mayhem Devil. Mayhem Devil is when a player sacrifices a permanent. Man, it's a real shame we don't just, like, have a lightning bolt. Alright, well, we're dead to Urza next turn. Yeah, our deck's super sweet. That's why it's terrible. Most sweet things are bad. So they get to gain 3, make 3 blockers here. I think that's probably the game. I don't know that we can win from this position. Another Blood Artist off the top doesn't do anything. I guess drawing Leyline of the Void would be pretty okay here. Mayhem Devil off the top would be good. Alright. So you're saying there's a chance. They don't have another removal spell here. We might be okay. Yeah, they can gain more life. Wouldn't Arch off the top deal 4 till elementals die? Yeah, I guess you're right. Would Blood Artist do it? Yeah, Blood Artist would be at least 4 because of the Chandra, right? Yeah, you are correct that Blood Artist off the top would have done it. Mayhem Devil does not because it's explicitly on sacrifice. They unfortunately read Mayhem Devil and then sacked their Flooded Strand at the right time. Rats. Alright, so they really messed this up here. So they should have waited. No, I guess they need to do it now so they gain life. So they didn't mess it up, but they still lose. I'm gonna get to kill more of their Thopters. Okay. Unless they have another Fatal Push anyways. They just have another Fatal Push. Yeah, just not beating that. Our sweet deck died. Welcome to Modern. Enjoy your stay. Dubs interaction. Can we reban Thopter Sword now? People said that card shouldn't have been unbanned. It took them a while to break it, right? We needed Whir and Urza. Or can I have Stoneforge Mystic back? We're not supposed to unban things that actually have an impact on the format, right? That's why people want Stoneforge to stay banned. I guess have like Twin Pod and Stoneforge Mystic back, just so like I can do sweet things that are entertaining to me. Yeah, this is fine. Not amazing, but fine. I'm gonna keep the Bloodstained Mire as opposed to the Blood Crypt, so this way if they play a creature on 2, I can Lightning Bolt it. If they don't play a creature on 2, I can just fetch a tapped land. A lot of those cards just wouldn't be numbsed up, but people would play them. Like most things in Modern that are bad, people would still play them because Modern's a format about playing cards that you like rather than just like playing the best decks. So like they would be good unbans in my opinion because there would be lots of people who would enjoy playing them. This format is poop, 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 do do do, poop, 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 do do do, do do do, boop, 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 boop. We're gonna hang out on the off chance we can get them with a lightning bolt here. Tower Knight, thank you for the 8-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I appreciate it. Might be a really short stream today because I'm not doing a third modern deck and we're not doing standard. Modern is like meeting the most beautiful person of your dreams and then finding out they don't bathe very often. That's such an apt summary. That's such an apt summary. They have Damping Spheres and Collective Brutalities and Duress. I guess Chandra technically flashes back Duress, so we'll keep her over Falkenrath. So these bolts. The bolts can be like a time walk. You can kill them a turn sooner. Sure. You have seven 1-mana discard spells to mulligan to. This format is basically just turned into Legacy, but without the sweet Brainstorm decks. At least Legacy has sweet Brainstorm Forcible decks you could play. Tower Knight, thank you for the 8-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I'm like getting flashbacks to playing Dead Gael and Legacy. Like, all right, playing against Goblin Charbelcher here. Got a mulligan for a discard spell. Like, do I mulligan Collective Brutality? Do I mulligan? I think I'm supposed to mulligan Collective Brutality. Like, the rest of the hand's not particularly aggressive. Hey, Acer, thank you for the 12 months of support. Hope your summer and your Wednesday are treating you well. Get you a sword to go with that shield. It's another easy mulligan here. No second land, no disruption. This format is Eldrazi Winter with more decks. Yeah, and part of it too is like, and this is something that I feel like doesn't get addressed enough when it comes to Modern, and this is one of those things that like, I feel like the people that make decisions at WotC are like, poor at evaluating all the things that go into evaluating data. It feels to me like Wizards, like, doesn't account for the fact that like, even when something's really good in Modern, people don't all adjust to playing it because it's expensive in terms of dollars, and it's expensive in terms of learning something with your time. And past that, a lot of people just don't care about winning that much, and they're just playing Modern and Magic very casually. I think we're actually supposed to Thoughtseize on 1 in this matchup, because remember yesterday when we were talking about how the worst games of Magic are the ones that come down to mulliganing for your cards versus them just mulliganing for their card that matters? Yeah. Well, okay. Well, that's I mean, that's outside of, like, you know, if we don't die next turn, they did mulligan to 5 to find this Leyline. So, like, if we don't die next turn, I get to hit a land and play the Stamping Sphere and then maybe not die. Alternatively, we could mulligan and never find a second land. That's also, it's also a line. It's a line available to us. Every time we hit them for 2, they're slightly less likely to combo because their health total is a resource while they're comboing. Alright, that bodes well for the home team. That does not bode well for the home team. Magic's an incredibly interesting and stimulating intellectual game. Are we dead? Did we die? Yeah, like, this isn't even Modern, right? Like, this is just, like, peak Magic. Just, like, mulligan to 5, kept a hand that was like, okay, if we drew a second land. Ooh, puppy! Lucky, lucky, lucky. This Gravecrawler's going the distance. It's going full speed. He's racing and pacing and plotting the course. I would like to direct folks back to my comment about finding your hate cards and playing against anti-hate cards. Crawling in his skin, these woods they will not heal. This 4/4 Allosaurus Rider can't be real. Oh, you know what? I should have played Undead Augur there and then attacked for 2. That's totally what I should have done. Looked on your website and can't find it. You must not have looked very hard. You literally click the standard decks button and then scroll down. To be blunt, I'm not sure how hard you tried. Mayhem Devil does not deal 1 damage to anybody I want to deal damage to. I think next turn I'm going to play this and attack with everyone, because remember, every time I hit them, they're less likely to be able to properly combo. So, I get to draw 2 cards based on whoever they block. And then I can't hit them, and I can't kill this. I'm actually going to kill my Gravecrawler here, so I get to draw 4 cards. So I have a good chance to draw a 4th land here. Because if I hit the 4th land that's untapped explicitly, I get to recast both the Gravecrawlers anyways. Perfect. Lord of the Pearl Trident, thank you for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Now, because my opponent has Leyline of Sanctity, for game 3, assuming we manage to scrape this one out, we're going to cut these Mayhem Devils and bring the Falkenrath Aristocrats back in for a flying haste threat. So, because this card is blanked, basically, by the Leyline. It'll be interesting to me to see if people actually end up getting to Historic or not in the fall. I feel like there's a chance that I feel like there's a number of people, like, if people tolerate the current Modern format, I feel like there's going to be plenty of people who are like okay playing whatever Historic looks like. All right, and this actually the Bolt's actually an incredibly good draw here, right? Well, I mean, it's Historic is this current Standard format, but the important part about Historic is that it's not going to rotate. That's the important part about Historic. There's a lot of people that, regardless of the quality of the format, they just want to be playing a Magic format that doesn't rotate. Like, people put up with way worse crap in Modern than, like, what's going on in the current Standard format. And the current Standard format is, like, not that bad. My biggest complaint about the current Standard format is that mid-range is effectively unplayable in it. That's also targets, right? Yeah. I'm gonna bring in Dreadbore, I guess. In case they brick off, it can kill a Gristlebrand. I take any amount of going back, and I assume once they decide to care about Historic, once it's not just a throwaway format, if it ever becomes not a throwaway format, they'll back add some sets because they want the money. I would bet that part of the reason why they're not supporting Historic too much to start is in part because they don't want to draw attention away from Standard when it rotates. Because when Standard rotates, that should be peak hype for that format. Are really bad at having lands. Bolt also isn't super good in this matchup. It's like an extra card that can, like, if they don't have Leyline, be reach, but it's not good otherwise. It's a pretty easy mulligan here. We have Black Source Inquisition, but I think this is still a mulligan because I need the rest of the hand to be functional. All right. Opponent also went to 5, unless they have a Leyline that bodes well for us. So what am I keeping here? I think I'm just keeping, like, 1-drop Stamping Sphere land. We'll bottom these two. Seems fine. But again, so, like, Young Pizzy, I think a lot of the people who are approaching Historic as is, I think are approaching it from the perspective of someone who's played Standard now and wants something else. And I think that what that is ignoring the fact that there are a number of people who haven't played this current Standard format that would play it if it didn't rotate. So, like, Historic just being the Standard format, like, isn't that exciting. But by virtue of it being the Standard format and not rotating, it's something that will attract new people who otherwise aren't interested in that. All right, so here's kind of an interesting question. Do I take the Nature's Claim so this Damping Sphere can stick around? I don't think so. I think I'm just supposed to take the Neo form. It's kind of a tough call, though, because, like, they have 8 of this, and they probably don't have 8 of this. The problem is that if they, like, draw Allosaurus Rider in a green source, they can, like, play Allosaurus Rider on one turn and then Neo form the second turn, and I also just can't beat a Gristlebrand sitting in play. So I'm kind of inclined to take this because I just can't beat a Gristlebrand sitting in play. That was a really good draw. And we're going to fetch another red source with this in case our third land is a In case our third land is a black source, so I can still cast, Turn 2, I've dealt 12 damage to myself. Just modern things. In case, sorry, my third land's a swamp. That's fine. They're gonna give us 3 life, right? Are you kidding me? They drew land Neoform? Are you kidding me? Their 2 draw steps were second Neoform Yavimaya Coast. What? Oh, maybe we need to go back to one modern deck a day. Maybe we need to go back to one modern deck a day. I think that might be. Maybe that's something. Maybe I'm not certain what my schedule's gonna look like next week, and we need to figure out what we actually want to do and if we want what I want to subject myself to. That's so miserable. Ugh. Am I able to give you my Prime and a Tier 1 sub? You cannot, unfortunately. You can if you wanted to chip a little bit extra my way every month. You could also, I have a Patreon. It's a really, really convenient way. If you don't mind using that platform, you can set for any amount on Patreon. All right, sweet. We're in the O2 bracket. O2 bracket, found a Merfolk player. Let's do it. You could also prime and gift them. I assume they wanted a way to set it and forget it. So there's lots of ways to just donate a random $5 off. But like if they wanted to like leave a recurring extra 5 on top of the prime, Patreon's a good way to do that. Yeah, they drew green source Neoform and killed us, Adam. Their 2 draws were green source Neoform. Nah, that's modern. Anybody who thinks this format is any different than my opponent drawing green source Neoform there is kidding themselves, or they're not actually playing modern, they're playing a casual format with the modern ban list. That's how this works. Probably gonna be a little slow on the draw here. Look at the time, I'm a quarter. Thank you for the 25 months, Python. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Hey, thanks for the 16 months, Swingy. Welcome back. Hope you're having a good one. All right, so I can play this Carrion Feeder. Sacrifice them, make them sacrifice a creature, draw a card, make 2 black mana, shock in Blood Crypt, play double Dreadhorde Butcher. I think that's the line. I could draw more cards by playing Undead Augur, but drawing more cards in that manner means that drawing more cards in that manner means that I lose extra life, which I don't think I can afford to do at the moment. And then if we draw, like, Mayhem Devil next turn, perhaps we could be okay. Gravecrawler's not a terrible draw. If we'd have been on the play this game, we might have been okay. You're going to be a little bit too far behind on the draw. They had a pretty reasonable curve. Our curve was good, but the fact that they got good hits in before we got to activate Priest for a second time is a little bit tough. We're dead to Spreading Seas plus a land tier. I mean, I don't even think that it's... For people that haven't watched my standard content, I don't even think that it's Dreadhordes looked bad on the draw. It's that... Dreadhordes looked bad in Modern. I think it's just Dreadhorde is just bad on the draw, right? Like, that's a thing in Standard, too. Like, it's not stellar. I'm actually just dead to that, right? Because this is a 5/5. Yep. I'm technically not just dead. I can block 2 of them here. But, like, they're taking 2, and then they have a board I just can't beat, right? Hey, good morning, Sentry. Hey, Chobo Muffin. Thank you very much for the sub gifties. I appreciate that. Happy Wednesday. For folks that are enjoying the earlier start time, feel free. Starting next week, we're going to be building this into the regular schedule. So I'm going to be starting about 7 a.m. Central Standard Time on most weekdays from now on. I believe we're dead, but we might as well at least do this and see. Great, I can play this. I block, I take 7 and die. Or block the Mutavault, take 6 and die. And that's assuming they don't have a way to diddle my blocker. We have some extra removal in the sideboard here. I'm going to cut these Thoughtseizes because they hurt me. Bring in Collective Brutality too because it kills stuff. Sounds about right. I'm a terrible enable Bulgarian. That sounds fine. Because I don't... yeah, I guess that's fine. I don't know. It just doesn't really matter, Time Lord. It didn't... None of our decisions mattered and we were just dead. That's the long and short of it. Because actually I have a good reason for you why none of our decisions mattered and we were just dead. Because the only removal spell in my deck is Lightning Bolt, and if I let them untap, they can sacrifice Mutavault, which means they have 3 Lords, and my Lightning Bolt doesn't actually kill any of their stuff. So that's the actual answer. The lazy short answer is none of our decisions mattered and we were dead. The longer answer is that's why none of our decisions mattered and we were dead. So we have Dreadhorde Butcher on the play here, at least. We got that going for us. We're going to Collective Brutality their blocker this turn, and then get it up to a 3/3, which is decent. Barreling down on them, revving up the Butcher. Excited to get, like, Harbinger of the Tides to get my creature reset. Alright, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Alright, to the person who submitted this, I tried my best. I thought maybe we could have a shot at doing, making this not just be a rancid pile of poop, but this is just too slow and fair. I think if you want to play something that's kind of aristocraty in Modern, I'd recommend just, like, something closer to the Zombies deck we played previously, just because it had, like, a little bit more disruption in the form of Tidehollow Sculler, too. So I think the Black-White Zombies deck is probably closer to something you're interested in doing. That being said, let's roll right into the next deck, which hopefully is not also going to be 0-3 drop, but it's also pretty fair.